You look at your phone, 11:47 a.m. You look away. 10 seconds later, you check again, 11:43 a.m. Time went backwards. Not a dead battery, not a broken clock. Time itself moved in reverse, like someone hit rewind on reality. Have you ever felt this? Checked the time, worked for what felt like 20 minutes, looked again, and somehow you gained time back, like those 20 minutes never happened. You're not imagining it. Tonight, you'll hear stories from people who watched time go backwards, clocks that rewind, videos that jump back, events that undo themselves, objects that break and become whole again. As if reality is making rollbacks, as if someone is pressing Control-Z on the world, returning it to a previous save point. This is the most disturbing evidence yet, because if time can go backwards, nothing you've experienced is permanent. Everything can be erased, rewritten, reset, and you'd never know it happened. Let's begin. A woman in her early 50s works in an office, corporate job, computer work. She checks the system clock constantly throughout the day. One afternoon, she glanced at the time, 2:23 p.m. She worked through a task, maybe 5 minutes of focused typing. She looked at the clock again to track her productivity, 2:19 p.m. She stared. 4 minutes had gone backwards. She checked her phone, 2:19 p.m., same time. She asked a coworker across the room what time they had. The coworker looked at their watch, 2:19. She refreshed her computer. The time didn't jump forward, it stayed at 2:19 p.m., as if those 4 minutes she'd just lived never existed in the timeline. She went back to work. Maybe it was a sync error. Computers glitch, clocks reset. Except this happened again 2 days later. Same thing. Time jumped backwards 7 minutes. And again 3 days after that, 3 minutes back. Always small jumps, always backwards, never forward. She started documenting it. Over 2 weeks, it happened 9 times. Time would reverse anywhere from 2 to 8 minutes, and every time when she checked external sources, phone, coworkers, online time servers, they all matched the new time. The rollback was real. She found forums online, hundreds of people reporting the same phenomenon, digital clocks rewinding by a few minutes, not just one device, all devices in the room, synchronously.
It's like the system is doing a save state revert, rolling back a few minutes when something goes wrong. But what could be going wrong? A man in his mid-60s collects antique clocks, mechanical clocks, wind-up clocks with gears and pendulums, beautiful craftsmanship from another era. He has 20 of them throughout his house, all maintained, all functioning. He was sitting in his living room one evening, reading. A large grandfather clock stood against the wall, its pendulum swinging steadily, tick-tock, tick-tock, rhythm of time. He glanced up. The hands were moving backwards. Not fast, not spinning wildly, just slowly, steadily rotating counterclockwise. The minute hand creeping back. 5 minutes, 6, 7. He stood and walked to the clock. The pendulum was still swinging normally. The mechanism sounded fine, but the hands moved in reverse. For 3 full minutes he watched them unwind. Then they stopped, corrected themselves, resumed moving forward. The clock had lost 8 minutes. Over the next month, it happened to 3 different clocks in his house, all mechanical, all properly maintained, all moving backwards for brief periods, then resuming. He posted on a clockmaker's forum. He expected to be told it was a mechanical issue, a worn gear, something fixable. Instead, dozens of people replied, "Mine too. I thought I was crazy. My wall clock went backwards for 2 minutes last week." Mechanical clocks require physical force to move the hands backwards. You have to manually turn them. There's no electrical signal that can reverse them. They're purely mechanical systems governed by springs and weights. Yet they're moving backwards on their own, as if time itself is reversing and the clocks are simply reflecting it. But clocks are mechanical. Electronics can glitch. Maybe these are isolated technical failures. Then, people started noticing their videos rewinding. A woman in her late 40s was watching a long documentary on YouTube, over an hour long. She was about 34 minutes in. She remembers clearly. The video was discussing a historical event, timestamp 34:18. She kept watching, no interruptions, no touching the controls, just watching. A few minutes later, she glanced at the progress bar, 31:42. The video had gone backwards nearly 3 minutes. The content on screen matched. She was hearing and seeing things she'd already heard and seen minutes earlier, as if the video had rewound itself. She thought maybe she'd accidentally touched the screen, but her phone was on a stand. She hadn't moved. The screen showed no touch inputs. She kept watching. 5 minutes later, she checked again. It had happened again. Another rollback. 3 minutes back. She checked her YouTube history. The app had logged her watching the same time segments twice, as if she'd manually rewound. But she hadn't. She searched online. Hundreds of reports, video timers jumping backwards, people watching 10 minutes of content, checking the timestamp, and finding themselves 5 minutes behind where they should be. One comment stood out. It's not the video, it's time. The video is just tracking correctly. We're the ones going backwards. The most concrete evidence comes from security cameras, devices designed to record reality objectively, time-stamped, sequential, verifiable. A security guard in his late 50s was reviewing footage from a hallway camera. Standard routine. He watched a person walk left to right across the frame. Normal, nothing unusual. Then the footage changed. The same person, same clothing, walked right to left, in the opposite direction, as if the video had rewound. He checked the time code. The recording had jumped back 4 minutes. The timestamp showed the earlier time, and the footage now showed events from 4 minutes prior, overwriting what he'd just watched. He checked the camera system. No errors, no corrupted files. The recording was intact, but the timeline had reversed. He reported it to his supervisor. They reviewed other cameras, same building. 2 other cameras had recorded similar rollbacks that day. Time jumping backwards, events re-recording over themselves. He found technical forums where engineers and other security personnel discussed the same issue. Cameras capturing temporal anomalies, not equipment failure. The timestamps were correct. Time itself had moved backwards, and the cameras faithfully recorded it. One engineer wrote, "If multiple independent systems are recording the same temporal anomaly, we have to consider that the anomaly is real." When devices record time going backwards, it's disturbing. But when physical events reverse, when cause and effect undo themselves, it becomes existentially terrifying. A man in his mid-50s was making coffee in his kitchen. He reached for a mug on the shelf. His hand slipped. The mug fell. He watched it fall, watched it hit the tile floor, watched it shatter into pieces, the sound of ceramic breaking, sharp and final. He bent down to pick up the pieces, turned to grab a dustpan from under the sink, turned back. The mug was whole, sitting on the counter, intact, no cracks, no chips. He looked at the floor, no fragments, no ceramic dust, no evidence it had ever fallen. But he'd seen it, heard it, the fall, the break, the sound.
A week later, it happened again with a plate. Dropped, shattered. He bent to clean it, stood up. The plate was back on the shelf, whole. He started searching for similar experiences. He found hundreds of accounts, objects breaking and then unbreaking, glasses falling and then not falling, accidents that undo themselves. One person described it perfectly. It's like reality hit undo. The event happened, then it unhappened, but I remember both versions.
If time rolled back 10 seconds, the mug would return to its pre-fall state. The event would be erased from the timeline. But if the observer's consciousness didn't roll back with it, they'd retain the memory of the event that no longer exists. You'd remember something that, according to current reality, never happened. A woman in her early 50s was talking with her husband in the kitchen. Normal conversation. He said, "I forgot to buy milk." She replied, "Again? I asked you to get it." They continued talking about something else. A minute later, her husband said, "I forgot to buy milk." She stopped. "You just said that." He looked confused. "No, I just now remembered. I'm telling you." She insisted. "You said that exact sentence 1 minute ago." He had no memory of it. To him, it was the first time he'd said it. But to her, it was the second. Identical phrasing, identical tone, a perfect repeat. This happened 5 times over the next month. Conversations repeating, actions repeating. Her husband would do or say something, and then a minute later do or say it again, with no memory of the first instance. Other people's timelines were rewinding, but hers wasn't. She was witnessing their rollbacks. She found forums full of similar stories. Spouses repeating sentences, co-workers repeating actions, people looping through the same few minutes, unaware they'd already done it. One person wrote, "It's like we're all on different save points. Some of us are further ahead. When the system rolls back, some people rewind, but others don't, and we see the seams." A game developer in his early 50s understands systems. He builds virtual worlds. He knows how save points work. In games, the system creates save states. If the player dies, or if the game encounters an error it can't resolve, it rolls back to the last stable state and tries again. Most of the time, everything rolls back, including our consciousness. We don't remember the rollback because our memory state is part of the save file. But sometimes glitches occur. Residual data remains, a memory that shouldn't exist, a sense that something already happened. Déjà vu.
Déjà vu isn't a brain malfunction. It's a memory from a rolled-back timeline, a ghost of an event that was erased. And the frequency of these rollbacks is increasing. More people noticing clocks going backwards, more reports of events undoing themselves, as if the system is struggling, as if it's rolling back more often to avoid crashing. We're living in a reality that constantly corrects itself, and the seams are starting to show. A physicist who studies quantum mechanics offers a framework. In quantum physics, time is not absolute. At the quantum level, processes are reversible. Particles can, under certain conditions, return to previous states. In 2019, scientists successfully reversed time for a quantum particle using a quantum computer. They returned it to a state it had occupied moments earlier. They proved that, at least at the quantum scale, time reversal is possible. If consciousness operates on quantum principles, and if reality itself emerges from quantum processes, then localized time reversals are theoretically feasible.
What we're seeing might be quantum-level rollbacks bubbling up to the macroscopic level, moments when the underlying code of reality resets a few seconds or minutes, and some observers, due to quantum entanglement or consciousness lag, retain memory across the rollback. The acceleration of reports since 2020 suggests the system is under increasing strain. Rollbacks are happening more frequently. Reality is becoming less stable. We're living in a world that is constantly rewriting itself, and occasionally we catch a glimpse of the draft that was deleted. So here's what we know. Time is going backwards. Not metaphorically, literally. Clocks rewind, videos reset, events undo, people repeat. It's happening to hundreds of people, maybe thousands, maybe all of us, but most don't notice because their memory resets with the rollback. You can dismiss individual cases as perception errors, faulty memory, broken devices. But when clocks, cameras, and physical objects all show the same behavior, synchronized temporal reversals recorded by independent systems, the explanation shifts. Maybe we're all hallucinating. Maybe mass delusion has reached unprecedented scale. Or maybe we're living in a system that makes rollbacks, a reality that saves and reloads when errors occur, like a game that crashes and restarts from the last checkpoint. You don't remember the rollbacks because your memory is part of the save file. When time resets, so do you. But sometimes the reset isn't perfect. A fragment of memory survives, a feeling that this already happened, an object you remember breaking that's now whole, a conversation you're certain you already had. Déjà vu isn't your brain misfiring, it's memory from the version of reality that was rolled back. Have you noticed time going backwards, clocks rewinding, events repeating, objects that broke and then didn't? Write it in the comments, because if reality is rolling back, we'll never know how many times we've already lived this day. How many times the system reset, how many versions of today have been deleted. You might have watched this video before, in a timeline that no longer exists. Thank you for watching, and remember, if time can go backwards once, it can go backwards again, right now, and you'd never know.